All right, so Adani is this. Okay, so I'll read the full thing. So Adani is an Indian company that is under a lot of attack from people abroad, not necessarily in India itself, because in India, the founder of Adani is really close to the president of India, who's called Modi, I believe. And obviously, they want to, protect their country. So this is what the article reads. Exposed details of opaque offshore structures that shielded family-linked shareholders at the Indian tycoon's empire. The value of Adani-listed companies dropped by 4.2 billion, or 3.3%, yesterday. And then it says, here is how the Adani Group responded. Not going to read that. It's not interesting. So, what's more interesting? Well, I'll first explain what I think about opaque offshore structures that shielded family-linked shareholders at Indian tycoon's empire. So, we in the West, or we in general, people don't like rich people, right? Like there's a sort of resentment towards these people because they're so extremely rich, and how come I'm not rich, and things like that. And this is fair. It's fair. It's a fair criticism. Why did these people achieve so much when I have so little? And this is the constant tension between rich and poor, which is like, it's a historical thing. It's not new. In India, obviously, India has been booming a lot. So there's been these new tycoons who are billionaires, and some are good people, some are bad people, some remind you of the Icarus story, where they fly too close to the sun and their wings get burned. If you want reference, look up Icarus. It's Greek mythology. It's really good. Really good story. So this guy flew too close to the sun, relating to Wall Street. But you can ask, did he really, he used offshore structures with his company funds and stuff like that, which is obviously something that is not allowed. So I will not endorse that. But I will just tell you that at least every single person that gets rich will look at offshore structures and all these things, because this is a way to avoid taxes. I will never recommend you to do this. This is a very bad idea. Don't go avoid taxes. There's probably lots of you out there that own crypto and do things like that. All at your own risk. I don't advocate tax havens whatsoever. But the fact is that when you get a lot of money, you need to do stuff with your money. And when you do stuff with your money in general, you do it on your holding company. You don't go buy you'll buy your first house, okay? You buy it personally, you pay your mortgage, all that stuff. But then you get to the next level. It's like, you want to buy another house. Do you buy this house then again personally with another mortgage? Possible. But what you can also do, let's say if you have your own company, let me have a sip of coffee again. Okay, so if you have your own company, you can structure things under your company instead of structuring it in your family life. What happens then is that when you go, how do you say that? If your company goes bankrupt, then you don't personally go bankrupt. So this is what this Indian tycoon was trying to do, is to protect his family funds and to put, funds from the company in there, which he believes is also family funds probably. It's just a different approach. In Asia, family is much more... family is much more valued in Asia and the Middle East and Africa than in the West, because in the West, we believe in a free-for-all where, family doesn't... Not to everyone, but in general, it matters less. Maybe your friends are more important, but in these cultures, family matters, so you do anything for family. And that's just a different approach. But to tie it back to it, rich people, or people get rich. Once they get rich, they will invest their money. They will invest it, obviously, in stocks. They will invest it in real estate. They will invest it in crypto. They will invest it in all kinds of areas. But when they do, in general, they do it either, well, crypto is completely off the map for now, but we'll see how that goes because it's under scrutiny. The assets like real estate, you'll own under some company, and then under the company you can own, you know, your rental car, your whatever else you rent. You can do business expenses on that company. Let's say you set up a real estate company in Dubai. Well, then now all of a sudden Dubai is your place to go to look at real estate, right? So the tickets with the airplane, the food you eat in Dubai, the Ubers you take, all this stuff, you can suddenly do it as a business expense. And that means, you know, Dubai is already 0% tax, but it means that you don't pay any tax on it. So I guess that's a lesson in, you know, how to structure your life after you get to a later stage. Anything else to say about that? I'll think about it when I take a sip. Then you can have a break. Yeah, I think that's it. We're at 20 minutes, so one more story maybe. Okay, let's see. Okay, maybe this is a funny one. Maybe not. Chechen warlord Ramzan Kadyrov has said that he is ready to die for Vladimir Putin, calling himself a foot soldier for Russia's president in social media posts. Just days after Yevgeny Prigozhin's funeral. Kadyrov has distanced himself from the late Wagner warlord since the latter's mutiny against Moscow in June, as hardliners seek to dispel doubts about their allegiance. All right, so guys, in my honest opinion, okay, I don't like war at all. I don't think anyone in this world likes war. But the fact of the matter is that there is this war between Ukraine and Russia, and there's a lot of people with different opinions on it. I'm not going to comment on why this war is bad, all the different sides. I'm not going to do that. I'll just comment on Russia as a country and their interest. And Ukraine's interests are pretty clear, I think. Europe's interests are pretty clear. Everyone knows what their interest is. As a country, you want to protect your borders, right? Russia has many borders. Ukraine is the most important one. I think not much more to say about that. Russia has the largest asset base in the world. It has 80 trillion or 90 trillion in global resources. So they can keep going forever, and they will do that. They have proven this in the past. 50-year wars, I don't know what. There's been many wars. Everyone has failed to conquer Russia. Napoleon has failed, the greatest man alive. You can argue Napoleon was an amazing person. Obviously, he was also very bad, but he was very driven, and he failed in Russia. Then, the other very driven person from Germany, who I will not name because maybe it gets me canceled or whatever. This very driven person from Germany tried. He couldn't invade Russia. So Russians are very tough. And when they head into the winter, like now, we'll see what happens. It's a standstill again. Nothing will happen. It's like a stalemate. Then it will probably Once spring hits, then there will be fighting again, and this will just continue on and on and on until, hopefully, I don't want to comment too much on politics either, but it does move the market, so we'll analyze it, I guess, from a market perspective. I'll have another sip of coffee. Hope you're doing great, by the way, wherever you're going or whatever you're doing. So, Russia protects his own interest. The emperor protects his own interest, right? In Japan, the emperor was protected by the emperor was the shogun in the past, and he had his samurai that were managing, the empire for him, and they were loyal to the shogun. This has been repeated in history. It's always the same thing. Democracy is great, but democracy was a new thing. Autocracies have been around forever. And I'll just say what I like about some autocracies, and we can mention some of them. In the Middle East, obviously, a lot of them. Then you have Russia. I will not comment too much on that. And then in Asia, it's the same. We can pretend it's not, but Vietnam is still communist. Thailand has a king, and the politics are also quite mixed. But Vietnam is still communist. China's communist, obviously. What I like about it is that they can make a decision faster than in Western Europe. What is not nice about it is that there's less freedom, right? And things are more strict. But if you think about it in a different light, you can look at the Western cities on the one hand. How are they doing? In general, if you walk around a city, is it clean? Is there crime? Are the people happy? How's it going? Look for yourself in the West. If you are there, see how it is. In general, it seems, statistically, violence in the West is increasing in cities. Things like, and it might just be inflation and life is hard. I don't know about that, okay? But violence is increasing, this is the fact. And then on the other side, you walk around in Asia and the baseline of morality seems very high, which has to do with the way they raise Asians is very paternal. And this is also what Putin is doing. It's paternal. He's the leader and he decides what's happening, right? But in the US, Biden's the leader and he doesn't decide what's happening at all. He tries, of course, and he makes the decisions, and he's an executive, more like a CEO. More like a CEO, but then there's like a board, and it's all very... But if Putin wants something, it happens. So I guess that's the difference, and we'll see how it plays out. So this was my recording for today. It's more than enough. Let me know what you think, if you learned something. If you didn't learn something, you can comment, obviously. I will try to reply. And see you guys next time.